without having the privilege of meeting him. And we met this morning, and I listened into your workshop and appreciate the support you gave to our people and the connection that you make between what we're trying to do here in Vermont and the national scene, which I know you remain involved in Chester. And so I think I'm going to hand over. Chester has been involved with SAVE, Self Advocates Becoming Empowered. Oops, I'm not remembering what your job is right now. So why don't you tell us what your job is right now, and we'll turn over the mic and let you give us your thoughts about empowerment and our keynote for the evening.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. My job that I do during the day, I work for the Office for People with Development of Disabilities. I work for the Commissioner, and I travel all over the state, and I also review information that we send out, and I make sure that the individuals are getting and families are getting what we said we were going to do. I have written waivers and that kind of stuff. But what I really do is make sure that people with disabilities are included in making the decisions about their lives, because that is so important. That's the important thing to what we do and why we do it. Today, I observed what was going on, and I really enjoyed talking to people at the press conference, because the topic was people with disabilities and employment. And this has been something that's been very important to me, because I spent 6 years in a shelter workshop. Yes, I did those jobs like putting sponges in a bag, making 25 cents a week. I wasn't happy about it, and I felt that things should change for people. I got the job I got because I advocated for myself, and I talked to the commissioner of our state, and I told him straight out, I want to work for you. And he didn't tell me, oh no, I don't think that that's something that you can do. You need to stay in the workshop. His response to me was, oh really? Well, next time you're in Albany, come to my office. So I worked on a presentation that I gave to him, and I don't like to talk about myself a lot, but it was so good that he could not refuse. And I've been there. This June will be my 17th year. But I've done a few other things, and I'm doing other things now that I'm really proud to be working on. I was appointed in 2010 by President Obama to be on the National Council on Disabilities, and I love that. I was reappointed last January. So right now, the big issue is working on phasing out shelter workshops and making employment a real option for individuals with disabilities. As I told some of you this morning at the press conference, I followed the progress of the state of Vermont. I followed the disability movement in Vermont. And I challenge you to be more powerful, to work together. Because all my work across the country and around the world, what I have found that there's more power if you work together. All I hear in Washington and other places I go is that, oh, well, people with disabilities have their own issues, they're in silos. Silos is for wheat, I think. Not people. Label the wheat, not the people. That's a new saying for me. I think if you guys work together on a lot of these problems, you'll get them solved, because you are not as large as some of the large states, such as my own, but together you can get things done. Because a few weeks ago, and even last week, the president had the executive order for raising the minimum wage. We were not in that. We were not even thought about or mentioned, even though we talked about it before he made the address and said, are you going to talk about people with disabilities? You know, some of the other things around the country was important, but we showed Washington, D.C., the president, and the world that we do matter. We wrote letters, phone calls. We talked to his office and said, you got to include people with disabilities. But we didn't stop there. We got other people involved. We got the nation involved. My phone was ringing off the hook every day last week. It was the Chicago Tribune wanted to talk with you. The USA, you know, US Today. I said, oh, okay. But what they wanted to hear was about my life at the workshop. How did I feel making 25 cents or pennies a day and not making money, and was told if I go to work I would earn money? You know, one of the lines was, oh, if you work hard as you can make lots of money. That was bull, and you know what comes out of a bull. It was like, oh, well, we don't have the money to pay you. Oh, slow down. You're working too fast. You're using all the materials. Wait a minute now. What is it? Am I working to make money? Or am I working to look good? I can do that without work. So, you know, what is the important thing is having an opportunity. The commissioner gave me an opportunity to be able to work the job. I told him from the jump. I said, I will be the best employee that you have. My supervisor, she wasn't my supervisor then, she said, oh, wait a minute, what about me? I said, no offense to you, but I will be the best employee that he has. And when he retired a few years ago, he told me, you know, there's a lot of people don't like you because of me, because they think that, you know, I hired you. I didn't hire you because you were self-advocate or what you've done. I hired you because I know you can do the jobs and I believe in your skills. That meant more to me than, you know, any supervisor or anybody. So I'm still doing what I need to do, and I'm doing what I need to do to make it possible for other individuals to have that opportunity, because it is about opening the door. You open the door for someone, and they will find a way to knock it down. They'll find a way to show you what they're capable of and what they can do. Now, in 2010, with a friend of mine, that he was my assistant at the time, he's my friend now and my co-partner, we started a non-for-profit. It's called Community Empowerment Programs. In our Department of Health, we have our license to provide services. We haven't figured out exactly what that is yet, but we're going to provide things to people, individuals with disabilities and families and children, the way that it should be done. We want to set the example in the community. And we work with people with disabilities. I'm vice president of disabilities and self-advocacy. And he does the community piece for the international part. Right now, we're working with tools for schools in the Philippines. So he takes care of all of that. We're working to rebuild the schools because of, tsunami and things like that have torn the schools up. So, we raised money to send over there, and we're working with other people. So it's about the community. It's about what can you add to the community to make it better? What can you add to your life to make it better? I'm challenging you, disability community in Vermont. I'm challenging Green Mountain Self-Advocates. I'm challenging independent living. I want to see you guys work together because you can make the change. If we can get President Barack Obama to change his mind and add people with disabilities, you can get the things you want in your state because you have an opportunity. I met with your senators this morning. I saw some of your representatives in the hall, and it's so cool because you can walk out the door, bam, there they are. So if you can't get it done, who can? They're accessible to you. And legislators that are here, that are supporting, I want to give a shout out to you. I want to say thank you. Everybody, just give them a hand. Because do 2 jobs. It's not easy to come and be a part-time legislator and then go to your other jobs and do that. But you can educate them what your lives are like. And when they go to their other jobs, they'll remember what you said. One of the senators, he told me, I can't remember his name, but I told him about our motto. Nothing about us without us. And he wrote it down. He said he wasn't only going to listen to it as words, but he was going to take it back and use it. So what does that mean? That means if I can do it, you live here, so you, the B word, better be able to do it in Vermont, because it's just that important. If I come back here and I see that you guys haven't made progress, I'm going to open up a can, and it's not going to be tomatoes. Because you guys have the power. You can change things. You can get employment here because you have the foundation already. You don't have to worry about some of the government regulations, but what I advise you to do, and I advised your Senate to do this morning, is to have oversight in what's happening. Just don't let it run wild, because you know what happens to weeds when they run wild?
They go way there.
Yeah, they take over. They just cover everything. So you don't want that to happen, but you do want success. You do want power. You do want people to be able to get things done. And I know that you guys can do it here in Vermont because I don't want to be made out alive. Because I told the people about the progress that you do here. You have no workshops, so what's the problem? You have no institutions, so what's the problem? I want to see you guys get it done. You think you can?
Yeah!
Yes, we can.
You can be louder than that. You can get it done. I know that you'll be able to make a change. And as one of my, heroes said, I'm my own hero, but, I got a few. Dr. King had a dream for the world, for people, for individuals, which included all of us. I have a dream and a goal that in this country, we won't have to worry about employment. We won't have to ask about employment. We'll be able to walk out the door and say, what's my next job? What's my next task? And one of the other things is we want you to be able to take the skills that they taught you in those workshops and be able to use that as jobs and create your own jobs. You go to the employer and say, I have this skill. Here's what I want to do. And let's sit down and write up a contract. Right now, that's our next step with the federal government. Our next step is we're writing legislation right now. The bill that went, the budget that was passed in December, the federal budget, we worked with the Appropriations Committee and we put through the legislation for sub-minimum wage in the past, and we took it out of there, and we're writing the legislation with Senator Grassley and Senator Weissman from Oregon, their staff, and other people from the House of Representatives, and we're going to give it to the President. And it will be signed, hopefully, and then we will change the landscape of services in this country. And we're working on some Medicaid stuff, we're working with Social Security. Hopefully, we're trying to put all the stuff on the table that to make us successful, that will change the picture of what happens with disabilities. But we need all of you to work with us. And I thank you guys. And I'm having an event down in Albany, June 14th. It's going to be self-advocacy. It's going to be music. It's going to be hip-hop music. And it's also going to introduce our non-for-profit to the community. And I invite you guys. And see Sky, she has a few flyers on what happened. But I thank you guys for inviting me. I've had a great day. I've had a great time. But I'm looking forward to come back to Vermont, and I don't want to open up that can. I just want to see progress.
Thank you very much, Chester. Thank you very much. One more time, folks. We're going to give Chester a chance now to hear from some of us. And so we've got